friends in the space I've met both at conferences as well as through networking, and so I'm really excited. As I mentioned, as different people have been hopping in, we're going to do introductions right after Omri has shared his, so that way it gives time for individuals who are still hopping on the Zoom to kind of come in. So Omri, you can definitely share a screen, and I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to watch the waiting room, and I'm going to let you share because you have a very interesting background, and you've been in the space for a while, and now you're doing consulting, but you're also very knowledgeable on the tech side. So thank you for being here.
All right, thank you so much, Jackie. And I just want to say hi and thank you to everyone. First off, I want to thank, everybody for inviting me to speak today, Jackie especially. I really admire the work you, Jackie, are doing with the Maryland Blockchain Association and the Blockchain Legal Institute. And I very much appreciate the opportunity to be a part of those important efforts and discussions. So thank you. Okay, so a little bit of background about me. My name is Omri Gross. I'm an outgoing senior clearance and policy advisor for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And I recently took the federal buyout back in February to pursue my long planned transition to Web3. And this is after working in regulatory compliance and public policy for the last 15 years. And on top of that, I've also been personally and professionally involved in blockchain for over a decade now, with an extensive on-chain footprint, hands-on technical research and experience, and serving in key roles at the Government Blockchain Association, and now a member of the Maryland Blockchain Association and Blockchain Legal Institute as well. So we're very, very happy to be a part of this. Now, since leaving the federal government and taking the buyout, as Jackie mentioned, I've started my own consulting firm called OG Consulting. And we're focused on helping emerging technology and solution providers assess their compliance obligations, build public sector engagement, and pursue public-private partnership opportunities in the United States. And so if anybody is interested in learning more about our services, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Happy to discuss that further. But there's one topic that I really wanted to talk about today, and that's open escrow, a housing blockchain solution for social good. So Open Escrow is a public goods hobby project I started working on at the ETH Denver Hackathon earlier this year, and have since received a ton of interest and support from the broader blockchain community, which is just amazing. And so what Open Escrow is that it's a free open source blockchain app that transforms rental security deposit management by replacing costly third-party escrow agents with transparent, trust-minimized smart contracts. So essentially, an free open source app for the rental security deposit process that replaces escrow agents with smart contracts. And so this is being built as a digital public good and not for speculation or profit. Open Escrow aims to promote transparency, build trust, and unlock opportunities for financial inclusion, all without centralized control. There's no company, no licensing fee or monetization model. It is public infrastructure for anyone that wants to use, integrate, and build on it. And this includes tenants, landlords, developers, governments, non-government organizations, really anybody that has an interest in essentially adopting this primitive, right? This free open source, globally accessible primitive for the rental security deposit process. And while services like this could easily be monetized, building Open Escrow as a free open source primitive really demonstrates the transformative power blockchain technology can have for social good. Something that I think often gets lost in the hype and profit-driven nature of our space. So the Open Escrow app will provide transparent deposit management and tracking with on-chain invoice requirements for deductions, on-chain dispute and approval mechanisms, automated notifications, also again on-chain, future dated refunds, so automatic future dated refunds, and of course a one-click report generation feature that's all has time-stamped, everything that has happened with a security deposit. And Open Escrow will also offer optional yield generation through tokenized US Treasuries. So that's part of the financial inclusion piece. So helping bring more people into these financial inclusion opportunities to earn yield, and through something that's generally a passive asset, which is the security deposit. And then it will also include an opt-in reputation and review system. And of course, the app will be optimized for a broad range of users through wallet abstraction. So instead of having to use a wallet and do transactions, it'll essentially all be tied to your email or social media login. There will be fiat on-ramps via services like MoonPay. So again, you don't have to deal with, USDC or stable coins or, converting to crypto. It's all does that for you. And then, of course, multilingual support for globally accessible deployment. I think that we've had a lot of interest in African countries and just more developing countries around the world for this type of service because they have a lot. This issue is, even though it's great, it's a big issue in the United States. It's even bigger in areas that have less assurance and regulation and law in that type of area. And so, yeah, so the goal is to abstract away all the blockchain wallets transactions so that anyone with an email can use it on their phone or laptop with no technical knowledge. And then I just have a couple words here at the end here. So we're currently gearing up to apply for public goods funding to help us finalize and audit our core smart contracts, build out our front end, and launch our minimum viable product by the end of the year. And then we have plans for global outreach and expanded functionality in Q1 2026. And we're also in discussions to be featured by University of San Francisco Blockchain Forum that focuses on public goods. So we're really excited about that. So if anybody on this call, or if anybody is interested in this type of public goods project and would like to get involved with Open Escrow, please check out our GitHub page, which I think I provided Jackie, and we can also send out, or just reach out to me directly via LinkedIn. And again, just before I kind of hand it back over to Jackie and we all do our introductions, I just want to really say from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you, Jackie, and everybody on the call for inviting me to speak and share a bit about myself, my story, and this public goods hobby project of mine that I'm very passionate about, Open Escrow. So again, thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it because these are the type of businesses and projects that I want to feature on Maryland Blockchain Association's website as resources. So that way, individuals who are not aware of the technology can understand the variety of applications. And I definitely want to bring this into Maryland. But I know that there are many individuals on this call who represent many different states. Not just Maryland, and I want to welcome everyone. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick intro. Everyone can do a quick intro, 30 seconds, and really kind of quick, because then our next speaker is going to be Brian, who I met at Eat Denver, and I'm going to have him introduce himself. And this is going to be a really interesting hour of conversation, but also education and just knowing who's in our community. So I'll let everyone kind of unmute and kind of go around. Who wants to be first?
I can go. Chris Light, CEO and co-founder of eLivestock Global. We're part of the Maryland Blockchain Association. Jack and I connected via the Global Business Blockchain Council Ambassadors Program. I've worked in technology for about 30 years and based in we're a Maryland company, and it's great to be here.
Keith, I see you.
Hi, I'm Keith Lawhorn. I am the Chief Information Security Officer for the Wyoming Stable Token Commission. We are developing the first publicly issued stable token in US dollar denominations. We're going to be fully reserved by short-term treasuries, repos, etc. And our goal is we're legislatively mandated to achieve 102% reserve. And so, anyway, nice to meet everybody. Glad to be here.
Happy you're here as well. All right, who's next?
I'll go. I'm Christine. Hello, everyone. I live outside of Annapolis half of the year, and then I live in Prospera the other half of the year. So if anybody has any questions about Prospera, I'm happy to fence them and kind of into network states. And I work on a fintech down there, having to do with on ramps, off ramps. So
Good to see you. All right, who's next?
I can go.
That'd be great.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Matt. I run Baltimore Crypto Mondays and also Ellicott City Crypto. It's a casual meetup for anyone in Baltimore, the Baltimore area, who wants to, have a drink and talk about crypto in person. It's not quite as professional as this at this point, but hopefully we'll get to that point. We have connections to Baltimore Bitcoin, the UMD Blockchain Club, and of course the Maryland Blockchain Association. So thank you, Jackie, for letting us be here.
Nice to have you here. All right, who's next?
Hey everybody, I'm Richard. I am a blockchain developer. I primarily work with smart contracts. I've been helping Jackie out for close to a year now, and I just wrapped up an internship with the DREC Alliance. Go check them out. Yeah, I'm happy to connect with anybody over LinkedIn if anybody wants to chat a little bit more. Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks.
Yep, and if you have checked out the newsletter that's on the Maryland Blockchain Association, Richard is one of our editors and organizers for that, so we could not do that without his help. And he's also been involved with our global summits as well. He's been our green room manager many a time. So, all right, who's next?
Hi, everybody. I'm Minhaj Arifin. I live in Vienna, Virginia, but I do come to Maryland for chicken biryani. There are some amazing restaurants and also consulted at NIH. So, a lot of respect for Maryland. And I'm also the Chief Operating Officer for a new AI-enhanced blockchain, Centaura. And we are all actually here in Virginia. The team consists of members from Amazon, and we're in our pre-seed fundraising right now, and I'm just getting to know everybody in blockchain and trying to reach out to anyone who's interested to learn more about us. Thank you.
Awesome. John, I see you unmuted.
Did I? My fault. I guess I'll go. All right, I'm John. I've been doing crypto stuff for over a decade now. Worked for a bunch of crypto companies over the years, and I founded my own project a little over a year ago called Toast. And I'm currently doing that and building a really crunchy, funky DeFi primitive on top of a different protocol with some friends. So I'm in the weeds.
And also heavily into Bitcoin, if I remember correct.
Not anymore.
All right, who's next? Carmen, do you want to go and introduce?
Yeah, so I know it says Carmen Crypto, but I'm Carmen Indalecio, and hello from Las Vegas to anybody coming to BTC Vegas this month. Definitely hit me up in the chat. My biggest role is to support Jackie wherever she goes. So I am on the honorary board of advisors for Blockchain Legal Institute. I do business development and partnerships for the On-Chain Foundation based out of Switzerland. And then I wear a lot of hats in the space. I'm known for being a super connector.
Yep. All right, I see we have maybe 4 more people. Dave, Joshua, Brian, which one of you guys would like to introduce?
Hey, I can go. This is Josh from Carbon Country. Got my buddy Shane here, who I know that you also know, Jackie. I'm not on video, but
That's okay. You don't have to be on video.
all right. We're sitting here in a barn in Southern Maryland where we're doing a couple things, a couple climate projects with agrivoltaics and biochar machine. But at the end of the day, using our excess renewable energy, or the plan is, once we get that in the ground, to mine Bitcoin. And we are already mining Bitcoin on the farm. So maybe one day we can have some folks visit. But yeah, and we are also we're raising a seed round. We've been an LLC for my business partner and I for about 15 months. And yeah, it's nice to meet everybody.
Nice to meet you too. All right. Who's next? We got 4 more people that I see. I want to make sure everyone gets it before we go over to our speakers.
I could go next. My name is Tanner Hedger. I'm actually a student at University of Baltimore Law School, and I'm just starting to work with Jackie at the Blockchain Legal Institute and Maryland Blockchain Association. I've been kind of investing and interested in crypto for the last about 8 years now. Yeah, so happy to be here.
Sounds good. Dr. Dave, do you want to introduce? I'm not sure if everyone can go off of mute. Itanga? Not hearing anything. Sorry. Well, Larry, why don't you go? You having
Can you hear me?
Yep, we
Sorry, I
can.
had my mute.
That's fine.
Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Cameron. I'm the Chief Cyber Officer at Paradigm Intelligence and also the founder. I do a lot with training law enforcement. So in the past 3.5 years, I trained about 7,000 agencies, spoke at about 170 conferences. I work with Jackie on various things. And I'll be presenting today on different blockchain forensics products, and I'll also be showing a sample report at the end.
All right, Brian, you are up for your conversation to talk about your background and flow. And I'm really excited about this because I'm learning about all different protocols. So there's so many, and you guys are really helping me understand. So you have the floor.
Good. Thank you. Glad to be here. My name's Brian. I work for the Flow Foundation. Before that, I was at Coinbase, worked on the base team doing DevRel at both of those. And I'll share my socials here. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about Flow and what it is and the history of it. But before I do that, I thought maybe sometimes it's better just to show things. So here's one of the demo apps that I've made, just kind of a silly little demo. Those of you who are familiar with EVM, this is on EVM. This is on Flow EVM mainnet. And this is just a fun app that I've made where I can, you can see this, right?
We can.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay. So pick a number of fingers. Someone
now
tell me
we
a number of
can.
fingers.
Now we can. Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. You can see my screen with my camera showing me.
Correct.
Okay. How many fingers do we want?
4 or 5, depending upon how you're doing.
We'll do 4. Here we go. So I can take a picture, 4 fingers, get some price estimates. Would be $11 on mainnet. ETH gas is really cheap right now. But I'm going to save this picture. I do have to confess it's downsized, so it is going to be 256 by 256, but I'm going to save it on chain. And it's going to cost 0.001 flow, so far less than a penny to spend 30 million gas. And this, again, is on mainnet. And if I was using the Flow wallet, we'd even sponsor that. But you can't do the account abstraction with that, with the sponsorship. So I decided to pay the 0.001 penny. If you don't believe me, you can check out the contract.
You're here.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Terrible time to freeze when I say if you don't believe me. But if you don't believe me, I just shared the contract on the Block Explorer there. You can check it out. You can also try this on your own if you want. It is a demo app. It might be buggy. It's just for fun. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Flow. And Flow is a layer 1 blockchain. And we will go through my socials. I shared those. That's me. So the story starts with CryptoKitties. Does anyone here have a CryptoKitty? Heard of CryptoKitties? Know about CryptoKitties? So CryptoKitties was created by the group of people who are also the authors of the ERC 721 standard. They're not the first people to do digital collectibles on chain, but Dieter Shirley, who is the chief architect of Flow, was the proposer of the ERC 721 standard and coined the term non-fungible token. And so they made CryptoKitties as their first project, and it was a huge success. It's probably the first time most people mainstream heard about NFTs. It was on CNN, all over the news, and it basically broke the Ethereum network. And the backside of the story that a lot of people don't know about is that not only did it break Ethereum, but that effectively killed the product as a product. All of the inertia was lost. The people who thought trading and breeding kitties was fun couldn't play because they were priced out. And the people who were there to speculate were upset because the price crashed because no one could do anything with it. So they evaluated over 200 white papers and then decided to make their own blockchain network instead, which is Flow. And it's built in particular to handle the problems that they encountered, both with CryptoKitties and with a later game called Cheese Wizards. And so the biggest problem with Ethereum is scaling. It can't handle that much throughput. And how are we going to get to 1 billion users with a network that collapses with 14,000 users? And there's a couple of options for that. There's sharding, which works as a common strategy in computation in general. You know, all of the databases we use are sharded, but it makes it much harder to write composable contracts that interact with one another. And then the more popular one that's taking off right now is layer 2. And that's worked very well. I mean, Base is great. Base is my favorite layer 2 still. But ultimately, it just fragments the entire space. And you end up with lots of cut up little networks that have similar problems to the main network and rely on third-party services to communicate with one another. And the other big problem here that's not mentioned in this slide, but with the scaling, is because every node does the same job, it's very difficult to scale the computation of the network because you would need these massively powerful machines to run a node, which hurts decentralization. You know, if you need a data center node that costs $100,000 a year, not a lot of people can participate. So the way Flow solves this problem is by pipelining and specializing the nodes. So it does have execution nodes, which are big data center nodes that are very expensive. We have one, and I think there's 7 other ones right now. And these do the actual execution. So they need to have the full power to maintain the throughput of a network that can actually scale to 1 billion users. But the other nodes are smaller and specialized. So we have collection nodes that collect transactions and put them in batches, consensus nodes, which order the batches randomly, which pretty much prevents MEV, combined with the consensus nodes not being able to see blockchain state because they don't do execution. The execution nodes actually do the computation. And then there's thousands and hundreds of thousands, and I'm actually not sure of the number, I should know that, but a very, very large amount of verification nodes that are the nodes that anyone can run and verify a small piece of the execution and have the ability to slash the execution nodes if they are found to have lied. And in doing this, you can scale the network to vastly more performant capabilities, such that, as you saw, is able to save a picture, spend 30 million gas for a fraction of a penny. And that's actually on Flow EVM, which is running in an emulator or a container on the actual Flow network, which is a Flow cadence and a new advanced blockchain language. So Flow is the layer 1 built for consumer apps. NBA Top Shots is on Flow. The NFL is on Flow. Ticketmaster, which I think, but I haven't verified, is actually the largest NFT collection in existence. You buy a ticket, you get an NFT. Disney is now on Flow with a really cool project called Pinnacle. It's in beta now, but you're pretty much guaranteed to get in if you sign up for it, I think. And it's going to have public release very soon. So Top Shots is super cool. One of the things that happened recently that's really, really cool is from within a span of 4 hours, there was a great play in the NBA playoffs, and it was a NFT 4 hours later. An NBA Top Shots on Flow. And then the Disney Pinnacles are very cool NFTs. They're pins based off of an actual enamel pin trading culture that exists in all over the world and all of the parks in Disney. And so these are really, really nice. So Flow, 600 million transactions, 45 million active accounts, and growing. And you can make much more sophisticated apps. And Cadence, the native language of Flow, and again, it's also EVM compatible, but Cadence is resource oriented, and it's designed with what are called linear types, which allows you to create in programming singular instances of digital property that cannot be copied. And so that lets you manage digital property a lot better than a gigantic ledger. So again, we've joined EVM, as I mentioned, since October, had a huge amount of growth since then. We have several bridges. The Axelar bridge went live a few weeks ago. And so we're growing DeFi communities, app builders, all of those things. We actually had, we were at ETH Denver, and we were the first built upon L1, the first most built upon L1, and we came second to base for overall winners in the hackathon, which coming second to base is pretty good, a pretty good place to be after 6 months. We're also now having cross VM apps. So you can make apps that can connect to both the Cadence and EVM side. And so that lets you do things like we can do batch transactions with one transaction with any Cadence wallet. And so you can just basically call a hook in your React and have it call a bunch of functions instead of one function. And to sign that transaction, the user, if they're using a Cadence-enabled wallet like the Flow wallet, only has to sign one transaction. And the really neat thing is you can make it so that it's all or nothing. So like if you did a 10-step arbitrage transaction and step 9 fails, you can just rewind it like it never happened at all instead of getting stuck halfway through. Transaction model is unique. So natively, we have account abstraction. Natively, the payer, the proposer, and authorizer are separate. So sponsored transactions are native and automatic, and that's how we do it with our wallet. We just sponsor every transaction if you use our wallet. The account model, I'll skip. If you're interested in it, though, it's much more logical in my mind. So accounts have storage. Storage is based on how much flow you have in your account. It's very inexpensive, particularly in terms of blockchain. And your actual assets are stored in your account, and you can transfer them from one account to another without interacting with a contract. So if you own an NFT, that's yours. You can do whatever you want with it. You can delete it. You can give it to someone else. It's a much stronger form of ownership and much more logical. So also, please follow us at Flow Blockchain on Twitter. I shared my socials. I don't know, Jack, if we have time for questions or not. I do tend to ramble sometimes.
We will have time for questions for sure, but for everyone who's on the call, this is being recorded. I'm definitely going to be sharing this out on Maryland Blockchain Association as well as everyone's links, so that way people can reach out. And you know, when you showed those cards, all I kept thinking about, because if people don't know, I'm the author of the Bitcoin Cinderella, and all I kept thinking about is I want to get some playing cards for the Bitcoin Cinderella books that I'm writing. And yeah, so for sure. So if everyone is open to the idea of taking questions at the end, that would be great. Because I really want to have Chris and Larry have the ability to kind of share. So Brian, are you okay with that? That we do questions?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, perfect. So Chris, you're up next. And you know, while Chris is unmuting and sharing his screen, I do not want to be remiss to let everyone know that the Blockchain Legal Institute is actually doing its first legal tech hackathon on Dora Hack. So go live June 1st. And so there's $32,000 worth of bounties. I'm still trying to convince Flo to come on board. But we have ICP, we have Constellation Network and Story. So more information about that later. But anyway, Chris, it's your time right now. All right.
All right. Great. I'm just trying to get my slides to go. Yeah, so I'm Chris Light, as I said earlier, co-founder of eLivestock Global, set up in Maryland. We've been through the University of Maryland Blockchain Accelerator. How did we start? Well, we started as a humanitarian enterprise. There was a cattle disease outbreak in Africa that killed 50 to 100,000 animals. Nobody knows exactly how many. So we said, gosh, there had been a good system. It wasn't a tech system, but there wasn't a good way to treat this kind of problem. So we said, why don't we try doing that? And it was 2019. Blockchain was hot. So we said, why don't look at blockchain and traceability and supply chains? And that turned out to be as I like to say, blockchain is the killer use case for supply chains. So, yeah, there's me. I've done a lot of work with the international development space. I'll say that's me speaking at the ICT for Ag conference in 2019, giving a 7-minute lightning talk on blockchain to try to get people in the ag space to think about it. And my co-founder at the time, who I've known for a number of years, was actually in Colorado. He's the gentleman in the chair getting fitted for a cowboy hat. He was on a tour of looking at beef and traceability in the US, so we sort of connected from there. When you start doing demos with live animals, people can, even if you're just doing something innocuous like, say, tagging an animal, people can get a little upset. So we came up with a mascot that we have do all sorts of things, and we named it Elvis because 18 is, I think, Elvis's birth year. So anyway, but yeah, it's a artisan created from Africa. So we designed our own tag. We put a QR. We're the only company I know of that puts a QR code. Well, actually, I do know another company. There's another company now, but at the time, that puts a QR code right on the tag that can go all the way to the supermarket shelf, go all the way through the supply chain or the life of the animal. And we also did a longer read range, ultra high frequency RFID tag. We're an IoT solution as well. We worked with the University of Maryland Engineering School on doing that, and the corner is a person using our system. So most systems you have to be very close. The animal artist, you can be up to 50 feet away. So it's very handy for doing things like inventory or stock taking. Our system works not just with cows, but with other animals, and I've been playing around with AI for images. So there you go. Pigs, goats, cattle, and sheep. So one of the killer use cases that we've come up with, we took an ID and tied it to a health record. You've heard of Carfax. We think of what we're doing as Cowfax, because a good record of the animal increases the value. So, and that's led to things like collateralization. We financial inclusion, market inclusion, digital inclusion. Basically, we have twinning, and we look at livestock as like a real world asset. So we can have a digital product passport that follows the animal all the way through the supply chain. We're a double revenue system. We make money on tags and also on the app. VCs love subscriptions. We have a subscription. And then we started in one country. We're in 4 countries. We've got over 24 patents. We won Best Blockchain Solution in Africa in 2021 and won an innovation award with the Society for International Development in the United States. That's me going to CattleCon. We're talking with people about the U.S. market. I still need to get a cowboy hat. I do have boots. And here's a selection of some of the places where we've been published. We were in The Economist because our system is being used for pension assets for livestock in Africa, and The Economist thought that was pretty cool. So that's our team. We have over a century of combined experience. We started with MasterCard's blockchain solution, and using Caterpillar had a phone that did thermal imaging. We're partnered with Merck on tags. We prototyped our system for Avery Dennison. We have I took the startup through Plug and Play's Animal Health Accelerator, and that's it. We like to tell a story of how it started, which was just with Elvis, but then we had the same artisan create an Elvis. If you look in the right-hand corner, create an Elvis with a bunch of little calves. So that's how it started, and that's how it's going. So.
No, it's awesome. And I know that you and I've talked about getting more farms involved and introducing them to the blockchain tech. So very excited to kind of be working with you in this agri-tech world. Any questions we're going to hold to the end right now? Larry, you're going to go, and then we'll definitely have some time for questions for everyone.
Okay, I'll just share my screen here.
Thank you, Chris.
Number 2. Does everyone see?
Yep, we can see.
All right. So again, name is Larry Cameron. I'm a Chief Cyber Officer at Paradigm Intelligence. My LinkedIn is there, and in the chat if anybody wants to add me. So I work with the Blockchain Legal Institute on various matters. I also run my own company. I've trained all 5,400 agencies and 61 task forces that make up the Internet Crimes Against Children task forces in the United States. I'm also a trainer for Interpol. I've done operations in Europe, worked at the Singapore Innovation Center, and also Africa and some other countries. And I'm also on the National Child Protection Task Force. And I work with multiple other NGOs for child protection, counter trafficking. So this presentation is just about various blockchain forensics providers. I wanted to give you a little info about the software, some pros and cons. There are about a dozen or more selections. We're slowly trying to add them to this deck so we can make everyone aware what they're good for, what they're not good for, and some more information about the companies. First one up is Chainalysis. Now, if anybody has heard about Chainalysis, feel free to put up your hand in there or mention it in chat. Chainalysis Reactor. Here's a visual of the software. So they have a few tabs there. I could probably get my laser here. I can point towards some of this stuff. The really good company. They're funded probably more than the rest. Laser pointer. You'll see the different tabs here. Counterparties, transfers, addresses, and some OSINT. Chainalysis founded 2014. They do cryptocurrency investigations, compliance, and risk management. They are used by law enforcement agencies and regulators. They're probably the one that got the most funding and that has the most staff. And they have several of the products here. Different investigations. They solve major ransomware, darknet theft cases used by the FBI, IRS, Europol, and more. So are some of the other blockchain forensics providers. They do sanction screening, which most do. They say they have the industry-leading database of wallet labels, strong regulatory relationships, and very scalable. It's really expensive, though, and it's closed source and proprietary. It's very difficult to get information about where they got attribution as well. Merkle Science, another one we were just talking with, and we have a current partnership with Blockchain Legal Institute. Here's kind of what their interface looks like. I just grabbed some screenshot. It gives you alerts, gives you a list of transactions, gives you more information about the exchanges. Founded 2018. They're based in Singapore. Again, clients are more financial institutions, crypto businesses, law enforcement agencies, also regulators. They have various products here they can go and try out. They're one of the up-and-comers in the industry. So they do really good with monitoring, compliance for crypto exchanges, and ransomware investigations, risk assessments, and due diligence. They have pretty good predictive analytics capabilities. You're not going to see too much of that yet. I see blockchain intelligence group starting to do it. And Chain.ai was the first one that I've seen doing it, and they're really good at it. They do have a comprehensive coverage, and it's a user-friendly interface. Next one up is Blockchain Intelligence Group. They are based out of Canada, and just so everyone knows, I'm based out of Canada too. Their interface is quite clean. They have different products. This is not doing it justice. I'll probably get a better one. But here's how you can trace different transactions to different exchanges. Now, when you're doing law enforcement subpoenas or warrants, or in Canada production orders, you need to have various information in order to get it, and this is how you're able to get the attribution for an exchange. Different attribution could be darknet market, it could be fraud, money laundering, could be an exchange itself, or a mixer, washer, tumbler, could be weapons, or sometimes drugs, or could be child abuse related. Now, about Big, blockchaingroup.io. They have BitRank verified. This is more the compliance one. Clue, which is their blockchain forensics. And I believe Jackie is also a certified cryptocurrency investigator, as I. So they're very law enforcement friendly, easy to explain in court. I found their audit trails really good, and they have a risk score API for fintechs. Everybody that owns a blockchain, they should be doing due diligence of some sort on the people. There could be KYC, could be anti-money laundering, could be counter-terrorist financing. There could be watch lists. It all depends on the regulatory compliance. Exchanges are more liable for that sort of stuff. But even building decentralized applications, you got to be careful, because if you're not regulatory compliant, you could have some sort of sanctions or legal action against you if you're facilitating a lot of terrorist activity, for instance. Cons on Blockchain Intelligence Group, they don't have as many assets or cryptocurrencies as some other ones. It's very basic interface, and it's fewer cross-chain. Another one is Crystal Blockchain by Bitfury. They work a lot in compliance, I find. Not so much as good for investigations. So they want to detect suspicious activity. Some of the clients are law enforcement, financial institutions, crypto exchanges. That's more for risk management. So they do have a way you can visualize the transactions. The anti-money laundering could be for a bank or a crypto exchange, and they have other products. Use cases: investigating illicit crypto activities, AML compliance, tracing for law enforcement, tracking funds in and out of the various Bitcoin wallets. It's a very user-friendly platform. It has advanced analytics, real-time transaction monitoring, which means that they have their own nodes where they can do these updates. So it's very real-time, so it doesn't take 24 hours to get the updated information. Liptic is another one. They're pretty solid in the market right now. Here's one of their traces. So when there's different scams, I believe there was some Twitter accounts hacked, and then they were releasing crypto addresses. This was way back in 2020. This is generally what their tracing looks like. Overview: they were founded in 2013. They do blockchain analytics, compliance, cryptocurrency businesses, and financial institutions. Very good product. They have 4 different products that they do for risk management, investigations, analysis, and asset recovery. So they detect really well money laundering and fraud in crypto transactions, AML and CFT, counter financing of terrorism. Sometimes it's CTF, sometimes CFT. Really good at the asset recovery and regulatory reporting and auditing. Strong focus on institutional needs. They do Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other blockchains. And very large crypto exchanges and banks do trust Elliptic. Worked with them in the past. Great team. But they specialize in asset recovery. TRM Labs. These are one of the more private blockchains. They are. I find that their bread and butter is very accurate attribution. So you know if it's an exchange, you know if it's been involved in a crime. There's kind of their view. We need a better one, but you can go to the exchange, you can get their ratings, you can have the transactions and the type of assets that they have. It could be Tron, it could be Bitcoin, it could be Ethereum. They were established 2018, headquartered in San Francisco. Real-time blockchain intelligence to mitigate risk and improve compliance. So financial institutions, crypto exchanges, government agencies, but they have several ones, one for transaction monitoring, one for risk scoring. They have an investigations platform, and not a lot have the DeFi, decentralized finance, and NFT risk management, but TRM's really good at that. Different use cases and strengths, investigating illicit cryptocurrency activities, risk scoring, regulatory compliance for financial institutions. So they're gearing up more toward the enterprise. So monitoring the DeFi protocols for suspicious activity. Very strong focus on DeFi and NFT, user-friendly, real-time risk monitoring, and regulatory compliance for U.S. institutions. This is probably one of the top positions in the field. If you're doing regulatory compliance, then you know you made it in this game. Here's one that everybody can sign up for. This will be, I think, the last one right now. We don't have much information on them yet. I'm still filling out the slides. But if you go to breadcrumbs.app, there is a free utility you can sign up for, and you can view the blockchain transactions. You can see the inputs and the outputs. You don't see this a lot with other ones. You more focus on single transactions. This one, it'll do the whole wallet. So that's what I like about Breadcrumbs. It's free. But if you have any questions about any of these products, oh, we have one more, Anchain. Sorry, I spoke too soon. But Anchain, they're really good. I'm going to show you some of them. They have this auto trace. They have different products. They also do smart contract monitoring and auditing. Nobody else that I mentioned does this. So they're very recommended if you create smart contracts. Get a hold of them, tell them I sent you. All right, so let's go and check out one of these reports. Let me do something here.
I see in the chat asking about the presentation. We're going to be repurposing the presentation for both the Blockchain Legal Institute on our news feed, as well as other things that Larry and I are doing. So everyone who's interested in getting access to some parts of this information will be able to do it, but not directly from a share of the PowerPoint. But for sure, you'll be able to have access to the information.
Yeah, we'll make a custom PowerPoint. We'll just fix up some slides, and I do have more underneath. I'm just waiting for this blockchain forensics report to come up. While I'm doing that, if anybody has any questions, let me know.
If anyone has questions for either Brian or Chris or Larry while it's coming up.
Hey, Larry, I'm so sorry if I missed it or wasn't paying attention, but like you were presenting all these businesses, and I'm doing a fintech that needs to know KYT and could maybe use like KYBB.
Yeah.
Are these all businesses that you were involved with, or are you recommending? Like, I know that we're already
So
doing some sub and elliptic, but I could see where
some
some of
sub
these
is
other
good for
things could.
KYC.
Yeah, yeah.
Elliptic is good for crypto compliance. I've used some sub before. So I've used all these products for more uh, investigations into child abuse and
Oh,
the
okay.
cryptocurrency.
I
So
see.
I have data. My data that I mined from the dark web is in Chainalysis, CipherTrace, Blockchain Intelligence Group, TRM Labs, Elliptic, Breadcrumbs, Bitcoin Who's Who, Crystal Blockchain, and there might be some others. Elementus, Merkle Science, and I'm probably forgetting some.
No, that's
But
super great. That's amazing. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's all the
we're gonna be
flavor
using
that
it
you
though
want.
for off-ramping. So
So when you off ramp, when you are trying to get exchange crypto for fiat or the other way around.
yeah, and being able to trace all the transactions to say that they are okay, you know, like almost the opposite of what you're
So
doing.
a lot of these exchanges
Yeah,
don't really do that. So you have to get it when it's deposited on the exchange.
yeah.
You have to trace it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you have to check the wallets before you offload crypto. But if they do the proper know your transaction prior to the cryptocurrency coming on the exchange, then they know where it came from. That's
Right,
the
right.
exposure.
Yeah,
And again, that's where you see mixers, washers, or darknet, or could be child abuse. It could be multiple different stuff, sanctions. So they should be doing every exchange KYC, but also the AML, CTF, could be
mm-hmm.
sanctions, watch list, special interest persons, politically exposed persons, negative news, court cases. Should be doing some open source intelligence. Um, there's a lot to compliance. So if you wanna hit me up and we can talk about compliance a little more offline.
That'd be great. Thank you so much. I'll reach
Yeah.
out.
They should also be doing the travel rule. So if they
Mm-hmm.
send it to a bank, the bank should know that that matches up. So a lot of times they need to match it up. So who are you sending to? What's your bank account? That way they know it's easier to detect fraud and money laundering and all that, and counter-terrorist financing.
Yep, yep.
Travel rule, that's very important in these
Mm-hmm.
cases.
Yep. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Oh, supposed to get this case. Hold on.
Any questions for Brian or Chris while Larry's getting the screen up? No? Definitely, I know you're going to think about them after we all get off, and you'll have access to their links, so you'll be able to message them for sure.
Let me just stop sharing so my computer will catch up to me. I don't know why, but Zoom always makes it go a little finicky.
So I know that while you're doing that, I know that there are events that are coming up in the month of May. I know May 22nd is Bitcoin Pizza Day, and it's happening throughout the country. So definitely watch the calendar for that. I know that there's also a variety of conferences happening locally in the DMV. So I'm going to be creating a calendar list, and if you guys know of any, feel free to message me as well, and I'll be posting them on social so that way people can attend and check out. In addition to kind of the national conferences that are happening across the country as well as in other communities, countries, and that type of thing. So anything that anyone would like to share in terms of updates within your own space? I know, Keith, I'm very excited to hear what you're doing. So for sure, that's really important. And I know Marilyn's slow to join the crowd there.
Yeah. So we recently launched on 7 test chains, blockchains, testnet, and we are shooting for a launch between the second and third quarter. So very exciting. It's the stable coin market's just exploding right now, so I think it's a big opportunity.
Yeah, it's definitely a big opportunity. I know that there's other countries and even states that are looking at everything like this. So it's going to be interesting to see how this becomes like just part of the traditional currency. So
Yeah, yeah, and it seems like Europe just passed the MiCA recently, and it's going to exclude a lot of the current players in the market. And in the U.S., we're looking at the Genius and the StableX. So it's shaping up. I think in the second half, you're going to see a bunch. As soon as the legislation comes out, you're going to see a lot of new players, I believe.
yeah, it should be very interesting for sure. Larry, were you able to get your screen up or not?
Negative.
Okay,
Not
that's
yet.
That's fine. Usually we do stop at 8. But for everyone who shared, Brian, I definitely have to, I'm not a developer, but I'm going to have to go over to the flow side and learn more about the developing side, especially because of being involved in the hackathon world. And Chris, I know that you and I are doing more on the agritech side, so I know that Omri had to hop off, and Larry, for sure, we're going to have other projects that we're going to be sharing about from the investigation side. So we have our next meetup. It's always the first Monday of each month, so the next one will be in June. But if anyone is interested in doing any volunteer work with the Maryland Blockchain Association, I always have a short meeting on Wednesdays, also virtually, so that way individuals can brainstorm with me about how to grow the community. And so just message me. I'm happy to kind of share. And again, we have a lot of people that have been reaching out because of the Blockchain Association kind of doing things in the Web3, the Bitcoin, you name it. And we're going to be reaching out to a lot of colleges. We already have. So it's growing, and I'm excited to see what the next year holds. I got a notice from Meetup. This is our first year anniversary of Meetups. So I didn't realize that I had registered a year ago to host the first Meetup. So I don't really officially think that I know the Maryland Blockchain Association is about a year old, so it's possible that I registered. So it's kind of interesting, how fast a year goes. So yeah.
Was able to get it up, but here was an example of the Chain AI and the different 5 transactions here and
I don't
how
know.
they all
I don't know that
overlap.
we can see it, Larry. I don't know that
They
we can.
can't see it.
Um,
Your screen sharing is paused. Where is it paused?
I can stop it and then you can reshare really quick. Let's see if there you go. Now try to reshare. Sometimes you have to refresh.
All right. Share. And bringing up screen 2. All right, here is the sample report. Now this report's rather long, but it shows where you come in with the wires. Here is an example of Chain with their auto
It's
trace.
still saying starting to screen share. So it's the internet is kind of lagging, I guess.
Okay. That's too bad. We can send out an example report
Yeah,
from
we
one
can
of
do
the
that.
clients and show all that.
Yeah, we
And
definitely will. There's always ways to maneuver around the tech for sure. So everyone who is on, definitely appreciate everyone. Oh, let's reach out. Let's keep connecting in the community and have a super awesome month. And we will chat, I'm sure, either in real life or on Zoom. So everyone, have a great evening. Bye, guys.
yeah.
All right, thanks.
Have a good one.
Thank you.